Namaste, I am Girish Agrawal, your Vastu consultant. Today we are going to talk about a very fundamental and basic concept in Vastu, and that is checking directions. Sometimes I meet people who say that we did planning and remedies as per Vastu but did not get the results. It turns out that they took the directions wrong. You know that in Vastu, many of the decisions we make are based upon the directions. And if those are taken wrong, then obviously everything can go for a toss. To avoid this problem in your planning and decisions, please watch this video all the way to the end. Traditionally in Vastu, they never used a compass. There is a device called a Shanku or gnomon, which is used. It works based on the path of the sun and the shadows that the sunlight casts, and using a Shanku, we can confidently ascertain the true north and east and other directions at any point on earth. But it's a time-consuming process. You have to learn how to do it. You have to own a Shanku, and you need a bright, clear, sunny day. So today, many professionals, they prefer to use satellite images, which are also quite accurate. But for a lay person, they tend to use a magnetic compass or even a phone compass nowadays. This has an inherent problem, and that is magnetic declination. Do you know that the true north or the geographic north of the earth and the magnetic north are not at the same place? Not only that, the magnetic north is shifting. While in countries like India, this is not so much of a problem because the magnetic declination is rather small. But in places like USA, Canada, some parts of Australia, this is rather substantial, and you would need professional help to be able to compensate for the declination and derive the true north if you're using a compass. But for laypersons using a magnetic compass, let's proceed with the steps that you need to take. So the first step in taking directions correctly is to ascertain the center of the space, because when we say that the kitchen is in the southeast or the bedroom is in the southwest, it is with respect to the center of that property. So obviously, first we need to calculate where this center is. It becomes easier in a regular shape, rectangular or square property, and more so if you have the floor plan. You need to calculate the midpoint of the length and the breadth of the space and go and stand at that midpoint in the property. Hold a compass or your phone parallel to the ground in your hand. Make sure that there are no metal objects or strong currents that can disturb the readings of the compass. Hold the device parallel to the walls next to you, and then look at the directions that it shows you. Magnetic compasses are marked to point towards north. So when you see that the needle is stabilized, draw an imaginary line in your mind that continues along the north direction as per the compass, all the way to the periphery of the property. And that point is the north, and the area around it is the north zone of the property. Similarly, you know to 90 degrees towards the east is the pure east direction. Again, you can imaginarily draw a line in your mind and see where this line coincides with the periphery of the property, and that will give you the eastern part of the property. So in a regular shape property where the compass is pointing straight parallel with the walls, it is rather simple. But complications can happen if the space is irregular shaped. It is not a regular rectangle, but it has got cuts and extensions, missing parts, or if the compass deviates. For an irregular shaped property, to get the accurate center, one would need to use specialized software. But for a layperson, again, you can more or less divide the bulk of the property, length and breadth, into half and ascertain the rough center and work from there. For non-professional use, this should be okay. Second complication is when the compass directions are deviated and the structure is not built according to the cardinal directions. Very often I see even consultants going wrong with this one. Let us say you are standing taking the directions and the compass is showing north on the wall in front of you but off to one side. They will still assume that the middle of that part of the space is the north, and thereby the corner to the right in front of them is the northeast, and so on. But this is grossly inaccurate. And what happens is that geometry and geography dictate that 45 degrees from the north towards the east is the northeast direction. No matter where that line extends in the space and reaches the periphery is the northeast part of the property and not necessarily the corners. I do know that Vastu recommends that properties should be aligned to the cardinal directions. But today, city and town plannings are not done with this in mind. The roads are going in all directions. So the plots are cut in that way. And that's why builders are forced at times to construct these buildings that are misaligned, or as we call them, vidisha. This is already a defect in Vastu. But simply by assuming that the direction is not deviated does not work. So do not ignore the deviations that your compass shows you in the property and count them as per what the actual reading is. Place your remedies and the various objects, rooms and activities as per the actual reading and not otherwise. Alright? Of course, if it gets too complicated and you want to be very precise with this, then it makes sense to use the services of a professional Vastu consultant, because again, directions are related to planets and so many other things, and he can help you choose beneficial directions as per your horoscope or profession. For more such interesting videos on authentic Vastu, do subscribe to my channel Vastu with Girish.